Every year, 35 million people fly to the same country. They photograph golden temple spires. They float paper lanterns on calm rivers at night. They eat street food at bustling markets and post the same photos with the caption, "The Land of Smiles." They go home thinking they saw the country. Most of them saw the stage set. Behind it, sometimes one street over, sometimes one floor below the temple they just visited, is a country so layered, so contradictory, and so deliberately hidden from the tourist gaze that it takes years of presence to begin to understand it. Thailand is not the place you think you went to, and the gap between the postcard and the reality is one of the most revealing stories in modern Asia. Thailand sits in the center of Southeast Asia with a population of 71.8 million people and a GDP per capita of approximately $7,800. The capital city is consistently ranked among the most visited cities on Earth, with 32 million international arrivals in 2024 alone. Tourism accounts for approximately 12% of Thailand's GDP. The country generated $42.7 billion in international tourism revenue in 2024, with the average visitor spending 9 days and $1,440 per trip. Picture the things every tourist sees: ornate temple rooftops catching the sun, crowded night markets filled with food stalls, white sand beaches lined with palm trees, monks in saffron robes walking quiet morning streets. 35 million people experienced exactly that version of Thailand, a version specifically curated for their consumption. Thailand is extraordinary at producing it. It has been doing it for 50 years, but the country that produces it is far stranger, far more complex, and far more human than what is on display. Start with the temples, because you cannot understand Thailand's contradictions without understanding what Buddhism actually means here, not as a tourist attraction, but as the operating system of Thai society. 94% of Thailand's population identifies as Buddhist. There are over 30,000 Buddhist temples across the country and approximately 250,000 monks. Ordination is a rite of passage expected of most Thai men, typically for a period of 5 days to 3 months after the age of 20. Picture a young man's head being shaved before he enters the temple. Picture rows of monks walking barefoot at sunrise, collecting alms in black bowls from kneeling villagers. The monk in saffron robes is the most revered figure in Thai public life. Politicians seek their blessings. Ordinary people bow when they pass. Now, here is the part the tourist brochure leaves out. In 2025, Thai police launched a nationwide crackdown on religious institutions. They investigated temples across the country and arrested 181 monks, abbots, and former monks. Charges included embezzlement, money laundering, and drug trafficking. One arrest involved an elderly abbot accused of misappropriating over $9 million in donation money. Imagine the donation boxes you see stacked beside every temple altar, overflowing with cash from ordinary worshippers. Multiply that by thousands of temples nationwide, flowing into accounts that almost nobody audits. The broader picture: approximately 1 trillion baht, roughly $29 billion, sits across Thai temple accounts nationwide, with minimal financial oversight, no standard accounting practices, and no audits. Donations flow in from millions of devout people and accumulate in institutions that answer, in practice, to almost no one. The most damaging scandal of the year involved a woman who extorted nearly 100 million baht, $2.9 million, from wealthy monks over 3 years, using compromising photographs to demand payment. The case implicated more than 20 monks across the country. At least 9 of them left the monkhood permanently. One abbot reportedly fled the country entirely rather than face exposure. Thailand's monarchy formally revoked religious titles for 81 monks in response, a gesture described publicly as a commitment to reform, though critics noted that revoking a title is not the same as auditing a bank account. Investigators who traced the financial networks behind the scandal found that illegal online gambling operations had specifically targeted monks as a customer base, exploiting the fact that abbots often control discretionary temple funds with no one looking over their shoulder. Picture stacks of paperwork, ledgers, bank statements, the unglamorous evidence trail behind a scandal that started with a man in robes and ended with millions of dollars unaccounted for. What makes this culturally significant is not the misconduct itself. Corruption exists in religious institutions everywhere. What makes it significant is the structure that produces it. The saffron robe grants automatic, unquestioned social authority. People donate without asking questions. Abbots control substantial wealth with no external checks. In a culture that deeply discourages criticism of monks, the system has, as one Thai commentator put it, a built-in invitation to corruption. The monks are not the problem. The structure is. Where are you watching this from? Have you ever been to Thailand, or is this your first real look behind the golden rooftops? Tell me in the comments. Walk a short distance from any major temple in any major Thai city, and you enter a different country entirely. Picture the neon glow of a city street at night, bars, signs in multiple languages, crowds moving between venues. This is the other Thailand tourists encounter, whether they seek it out or simply pass through it on their way somewhere else. Prostitution has been illegal in Thailand since 1960. That sentence needs a moment to land, because what follows, it makes it almost meaningless. Despite being illegal, Thailand's sex industry generates an estimated $6.4 billion annually, approximately 1.6% of gross domestic product. International labour researchers estimated in 2023 that Thailand has approximately 250,000 sex workers, ranking it among the highest in the world by total volume. The roots of this industry are specific and traceable. During the Vietnam War, the Thai government agreed to host foreign military rest and recreation facilities. Picture historical black and white footage of soldiers on leave, bars opening to serve them, a nightlife economy built almost overnight around a foreign military presence. The number of sex workers in the country rose from approximately 20,000 in 1957 to 400,000 by 1964, a 20-fold increase driven directly by foreign military spending. When the war ended, the infrastructure remained. The venues, the districts, the economic networks did not disappear. They evolved into the tourism economy that exists today. In 2014, Thailand's first female tourism minister publicly declared the sex industry would be eradicated. She was replaced within 3 years. A later prime minister announced a similar crackdown, targeting the country's best-known coastal resort city. That city's entertainment districts remain just as active today, drawing close to 9.5 million visitors annually. Enforcement, when it happens, tends to fall on the most visible and least protected actors in the system, rather than the venue owners, the property holders, or the wider commercial networks that profit from the industry's scale. Annual arrests for prostitution-related offences in Thailand are, per capita, roughly 5 times higher than in the United States, according to a 2024 academic analysis. That statistic tells you something specific about how the law actually functions here. Enforcement is real, but selective, and it rarely touches the infrastructure that makes the industry possible in the first place. The economic engine behind the industry is not desire, it is geography. Picture dry farmland, a rural village, modest wooden homes. The vast majority of Thailand's sex workers come from the country's northeastern plateau region, home to 22 million people and the poorest part of the country. Average household income there is roughly half the national average, and agricultural work has grown less reliable as drought cycles have intensified over the past 2 decades. Women who move to the capital or to coastal resort towns for work face a labour market that offers, in most cases, low-wage factory or service work, with wages that fall well short of what the sex industry can generate. Researchers who have studied these economic choices describe a consistent pattern. Workers remit the majority of their income back to their home villages, where the money visibly transforms living standards, building a house, funding a sibling's education, clearing a family debt in ways that years of agricultural labour never could. This does not make the industry acceptable. It makes it human, and it makes the policy question far harder than simply declaring it illegal, which Thailand already did 70 years ago, with limited practical effect. Subscribe now if you want a channel that tells you what is actually happening in the countries the world talks about but rarely understands. Every episode, subscribe. There is a third Thailand that tourists encounter and almost universally misunderstand. Picture a crowded city street, a busy shop counter, an airline cabin crew walking through an airport, and within those everyday scenes, a population that most visitors never think to ask about. Today, Thailand has the highest percentage of transgender people of any country in the world. The Thai term for this community, often translated into English as ladyboy, describes a social category that is not a modern invention or a product of Thailand's entertainment industry. The term and the social role appear in centuries-old Buddhist scriptures and in regional historical records dating back over 700 years. Pre-modern Thai society recognized this group as a legitimate social category for centuries before the country became a tourist destination. Estimates of this population range from 10,000 to 300,000 people nationwide. Many identify simply using the Thai word for woman. The term popular in entertainment marketing abroad is considered reductive by many within the community itself. The social position of this group in Thailand is unlike anything in the Western world. A 2015 study found that only 15% reported feeling rejected by society, compared to over 80% of transgender people in the United States who reported verbal abuse. Some Buddhist temples host beauty contests within this community as fundraising events. Thai universities maintain dedicated student housing for them. And yet Thai law does not allow transgender people to change their gender marker on official identification documents. Professional careers in large corporations and government are largely closed, regardless of qualification, because an ID card that does not match a person's lived gender presentation creates friction at every formal checkpoint. Job applications, bank accounts, healthcare registration. Many end up concentrated in entertainment, beauty and service industries, not because those are the only fields willing to employ them, but because those are the fields where visibility and performance have historically mattered more than a government-issued document. In Thai Buddhist belief, being born into this identity is understood as the consequence of conduct in a previous life, a karmic debt being repaid. This framework makes the identity spiritually legitimate, while assigning it a status rooted in past transgression. It is neither condemnation nor full acceptance. It is, in Thai terms, simply the shape of a particular soul's journey through the cycle of rebirth, a framework that allows ordinary Thai people to extend warmth and inclusion in daily life, without the country ever having to resolve the legal question of who they officially are. What the tourist sees at the country's famous stage shows, elaborate costumes, bright lights, polished performances, is the most commercially refined surface of something far older and more theologically grounded than it appears. Hold all three of these together now. A country of 30,000 temples where $29 billion in religious donations sits in accounts with no oversight. A country where sex work is illegal and generates $6.4 billion a year in open entertainment districts. A country where a third gender has been recognized for over 1,000 years but still cannot legally appear on a government ID. A country where 35 million tourists arrived in 2024 and went home thinking they saw the place. Thailand is not hiding from you. It is simply not explaining itself. And the version that does not explain itself, the version too layered for a 9-day itinerary to reach, is the more interesting country by far. Do you think the country you live in has a similar gap between its public face and its real life? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe if you want to keep going deeper into the countries the world thinks it understands.